Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, today we're jumping right into an ancient clash that completely flips how we usually think about ancient warfare. You know, we tend to picture these battles as just pure clashes of muscle and steel, just total brute force. But today, we're looking at this incredible account proving psychological warfare is definitely not a modern invention. We're going to see how an essentially invincible hero, Vasudeva, was brought to his absolute breaking point. And it wasn't by some superior physical weapon. No, it was a devastating, highly calculated attack on his mind. It's just a wild look at ancient tactical deception, and honestly, the way it unfolds feels straight out of a blockbuster movie. So we drop right into the middle of a high-octane aerial battle. The narrator of our source text, Vasudeva, is facing down his great enemy, King Salwa. And Salwa has just secured a massive tactical advantage. He's actually ascended into the sky. Just picture that for a second. You're locked in this grueling fight on the ground, and suddenly, boom, your opponent is hovering way above you, raining down destruction from the clouds. It completely changes the geometry of the battlefield. It's this incredibly intimidating maneuver, totally designed to make the enemy down below feel small, trapped, and just completely overwhelmed.
Now, the stakes here go way beyond just physical survival. This is rapidly turning into a grueling test of mental fortitude against what seems like completely impossible odds. Vasudeva is dealing with a relentless high-altitude bombardment. Salwa is practically tasting victory, and he's pushing his assault to the absolute limit. This isn't just a quick skirmish. We're talking about a true clash of ancient superpowers, where every single ounce of endurance is being drained out of them. But, as we're going to see, this massive physical exhaustion, it's really just the softening up phase for the true attack that's about to hit.
To really grasp the kind of pressure Vasudeva is under, you have to look at the arsenal Salwa is unleashing from up there. He's hurling down these things called satagnis, which are basically terrifying ancient projectiles, along with mighty maces, flaming lances, and stout clubs. The text actually describes this deafening, terrifying noise in the welkins, the sky, as all these weapons come crashing down. But Vasudeva, incredibly, he's holding his own. He's firing off swift arrows with just superhuman speed, literally cutting these flaming lances and maces into 2 or 3 pieces before they can even touch him. He's essentially acting as a one-man anti-aircraft defense system, holding the line with nothing but his bow and some seriously intense reflexes.
But here is where things get really interesting. There is a stark contrast happening. Up in the sky, Vasudeva is putting on an absolute masterclass in defense. He's neutralizing the heavy artillery. But down on the ground, it's total devastation. While Vasudeva is laser-focused on tracking massive flaming lances, Salwa is secretly covering the hero's chariot, his steeds, and his driver, Daruka, with hundreds of straight shafts. So sure, the hero survives, but the collateral damage around him is immense. His entire support system is being systematically taken apart.
And that brings us to the charioteer, Daruka, who is pushed right to his absolute breaking point. The text gives us this painfully vivid description. Daruka tells Vasudeva he's literally about to pass out. He's only staying on the battlefield out of pure, stubborn loyalty. But his body is completely giving up on him. There isn't a single spot on his chest, his head, or his arms that isn't completely covered in arrows. Blood is flowing so heavily from his wounds that Vasudeva looks at him and says he looks like a mountain of red chalk after a heavy shower. I mean, what a horrific, demoralizing sight for any commander to have to witness.
Seeing his driver bleeding out like that, Vasudeva does what any great leader would do. He cheers him up. He rallies Daruka, and together they somehow hold the line. Vasudeva just flat out refuses to yield to the physical barrage. And that begs a pretty timeless tactical question. Think about it. If you throw everything you have at an opponent and you absolutely cannot break their body, how on earth do you defeat them? Well, you have to break their mind.
And the answer arrives in the form of pure psychological warfare, delivered as a lethal, targeted piece of disinformation. A man approaches Vasudeva's chariot. Now, he looks and sounds exactly like a friend, claiming to be a trusted follower from back home with an urgent message. In a voice just choked with sorrow, he delivers a crushing blow. He says that while Vasudeva was away fighting, Salwa secretly went to his home city of Dwaraka and murdered Vasudeva's father. The messenger literally tells him, "No need of battle anymore. Cease. Do thou defend Dwaraka. This is thy principal duty." It's a precision strike of a lie, designed entirely to shatter the hero's motivation to keep fighting.
So the truly crucial point here is how this lie instantly triggers a domino effect of despair in Vasudeva's highly logical, strategic mind. his heart just drops, and he mentally runs through his defensive line back home. He's thinking of Baladeva, Satyaki, Pradyumna, this roster of his most incredible, practically unbeatable allies. He deduces that these warriors are so immensely strong that even the bearer of the thunderbolt couldn't defeat his father if they were still alive. So, his dark, terrifying conclusion is that if his dad is dead, his most trusted protectors must have all been slaughtered first. The psychological trap has completely snapped shut.
Overwhelmed with the grief from that mental calculation, Vasudeva looks up to face Salwa again. But his fractured, vulnerable mind is immediately targeted by a horrific, incredibly cinematic illusion crafted by the enemy. He looks up and actually sees his father falling out of a flying car made of precious metals. The text uses this beautiful but really tragic simile to describe the plunge toward the earth. It says it's like a legendary hero falling from heaven or a star that is simply burned out. It is a terrifying visual confirmation of the exact lie he was just told.
And the illusion doesn't just stop at showing his death, it meticulously crafts a vision of complete indignity and humiliation. Keep in mind, this is a revered, highly respected patriarch. Yet as he falls through the sky, the illusion shows his headgear foul and flowing loosely. His hair is a mess, and his clothes are completely disordered. It is a deeply calculated visual specifically designed to strip away all his honor. It forces the son to watch his father not only perish, but perish in a state of absolute, chaotic vulnerability.
Now here is where the sheer cruelty of the attack really hits home. The illusion goes one step further, just to maximize the emotional trauma. As the father falls, prone with outstretched arms and legs, looking totally helpless like a dropping bird, hostile warriors actually swarm him in midair. They begin grievously striking this helpless, falling old man with lances and axes. I mean, imagine the visceral horror for Vasudeva, having to watch this brutal overkill happening right above his head and being completely, entirely unable to stop it.
The sensory overload, the perfectly calculated lie, the logical assumption of total defeat, and then this gruesome visual. Together, they completely achieve what all those flaming lances and maces couldn't. They break the invincible hero. Vasudeva literally says his heart trembled. The legendary bow, Sharanga, the very weapon that was single-handedly defending the skies just moments ago, slips right from his hand. He physically collapses, slumping down on the side of his car, and loses consciousness right there on the battlefield. Seeing their mighty leader fall like that, his entire host cries out in despair. The psychological victory for Salwa is, in this specific moment, absolute.
But wait, this is exactly why Vasudeva is a legendary hero. Watch how incredibly fast his mental recovery happens. Minute 1, he swoons and is out cold. But by minute 2, his combat instincts kick right back in. He wakes up and quickly scans the sky. He looks for the car of costly metals. He looks for Salwa. He looks for his father. And by minute 3, he realizes nothing. The sky is completely empty. In a split second, that hyperlogical mind takes over again. He concludes it was all an illusion, a magic trick. He doesn't sit there dwelling in the sorrow. He picks his bow back up, and by minute 4, he instantly resumes discharging arrows by the hundreds.
It's an unbelievable sequence of events, and honestly, it feels incredibly relevant to us today. This ancient clash leaves us with such a profound takeaway about the actual mechanics of disinformation, the vulnerability of the human mind under extreme stress, and the sheer power of resilience. Salwa almost won, not by fighting harder, but by corrupting Vasudeva's perception of reality. It just proves that sometimes, when you're targeted by overwhelming illusions, despair, and completely false narratives, breaking the opponent's spell simply requires taking a breath, waking up to the truth, and grounding yourself firmly back in reality. So what illusions are you fighting today? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and always keep questioning what you see.